Hello there, everybody, and welcome to Web and Beyond Live. I'm Ray Sidney Smith, and I'm president of W3 Consulting and managing director of W3C Web Services. And so we provide affordable WordPress hosting and domain registration services for small business. And what I'd like to do with this time together on Web and Beyond Live is to spend a little time in conversation with you about things that I think might be important to you, and also things that are topical, timely, and in discussion. So this is the time, of course, to ask me questions. So if you have questions, feel free to ask now, and I'll be happy to answer those as I'm able to. And for those who may be new to the environment, you may see the live chat comments on the right-hand side of your screen. You may have to scroll below your video, the video you're seeing of me, in order to be able to see it. You may actually have to scroll really far down if you're on mobile to see the comments at the bottom there. And so just be mindful that the the comment box, the live chat, may be a little bit hidden for you. But today, what I wanted to do was to spend a little bit of time talking about a couple of things that are not coronavirus related or COVID-19 related, because I know that we've been getting deluged with that conversation ongoing. And this unfortunate global pandemic is going to get worse before it gets better, and there's a lot of economic impact that's going to be happening. So I've relegated all that conversation to a webinar that I'll be doing on Thursday for the Virginia SBDC network. So if you're interested in hearing kind of all of my thoughts related to what small business owners should be doing in the kind of the messaging and all that other stuff related to COVID-19 response, go ahead and look for that on the Virginia SBDC website under live recordings, and trainings. I think it's, if you go, there's like there's an option there. I always have to do this myself, so I always never know where to look, but it's under training and then live webinars and recordings. And you'll be able to find the registration. There's a green registration button, and you can register for that webinar and check out what I'm going to be presenting in that live session. So that being the case, what I wanted to do today was to take a little bit of a diversion and to talk about a couple of topics. One is TikTok. We've been hearing a lot about TikTok in the consumer media, and so I wanted to just talk about TikTok and what small businesses should be doing or not doing as it relates to this new social networking platform. I'm going to talk a little bit about Instagram and Facebook in terms of them removing likes and hearts from the consumer view, from the user side view, and what does that mean for business owners and building influence and persuasion for those users. And then finally, I wanted to just touch ever so slightly on something that was actually affecting a whole wide variety of users recently with regard to some of the phishing scams that were happening, and so reducing the overall receipt of email. And so just talking about securing email and how to do that, both from a one-to-one or a normal email perspective, but also with your email marketing. And I know that that's just an important factor for a lot of people. So I just wanted to cover that ever so briefly. So let's first start with TikTok. So TikTok is a new-ish Chinese-owned social networking platform. It's video-based, so you're able to send to record these short videos that allow your users, your followers, to be able to see. They are recorded in mostly vertical, so just like your phone, it's recorded in this perspective, and so you're recording these very short videos and showing people something interesting and captivating in that short amount of video space. Here goes my long and short of this. I don't think TikTok is worth spending your time investing in right now. TikTok is and has a whole bunch of issues related to the platform. While it's very popular and is growing very quickly, there are still platforms where most of the, at least US small business audience is spending their time, that is the vast majority of folks that would be buying from you are spending their time in other social networks that by and large, you already know, you're already interacting on, and you should focus on those. It's not certainly for B2B, and many times folks who are using TikTok, the demographics of TikTok are actually very young. So, while that might be a secondary or even a tertiary audience for yourself, the buying public is actually on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn and so on and so forth, Pinterest even, before they're on TikTok. So I would just set TikTok aside. I don't really think it's necessary to be all that focused on TikTok right now. Of course, there are people who are going to argue with me over being kind of first actor, kind of being there before everybody else is. And the reality is that I just haven't seen the data to support that in terms of TikTok yet. It being a platform akin to kind of the way Snapchat growth has really happened. Snapchat, while a great platform and a lot of interactivity between individuals one-to-one, we haven't seen a lot of businesses be able to take advantage of that in the largest stock. Now, if you are a business that you really know that you can make inroads there, both on Snapchat and TikTok, go for it. I think that TikTok is going to get more and more, for better or for worse, issues relating to scrutiny, because they are part of a company that has ties to the government of China, and so there are some issues surrounding the data being put on that platform. Of course, not particularly an issue for a business, but certainly for consumers and individuals outside of China. That's of grave concern to us all. So there's a little bit of stuff going on underneath the surface of TikTok that makes me just think the fundamentals aren't there yet for us to be considering it as a primary platform for small business growth here in the United States. That being the case, I'll be watching and paying attention. So, obviously I'll let you know if I feel like now is the time to start figuring out TikTok and recording short videos and having a good time producing that type of content. That brings me further along in the conversation related to Facebook and Instagram. They have been testing this concept of removing likes and hearts, likes on the Facebook side, hearts on the Instagram side, for quite some time. And what we're seeing is the idea that the likes and hearts were a mechanism for being able to tell people, persuade other people to, in essence, interact and engage with that content, because it was a vote of confidence that content was good, was of value. And as Facebook and Instagram have not quickly, but slowly lumbered forward figuring out, is that it really doesn't tell us that content is of value. It's just that it's popular. And popularity is not a replacement for figuring out value. And we need to really think about that as business owners, what we're creating of value out there in the market. And a couple of Web and Beyonds ago, I talked about the social media content formula. If you haven't and didn't see that, snap back to that YouTube video and look to see what I really mean by something that is going to create something of value, something that is going to be truly useful to you to create in social media, right? And remember that social media is top of the funnel. And so that content's being generated to be able to bring people from top of the funnel down closer to the bottom of the funnel toward a sale. So understanding where social content really begins, the relationship with your audience, really helps to help relegate it to the right place and appropriateness to your business goals. So Facebook likes and Instagram hearts do not equal value. And that means on content specifically. So when you go to a Facebook page and follow a Facebook page, that's different than liking a specific piece of content, because someone's already following you, and that's why they're seeing your content in the feed. So the goal here is to figure out what then becomes the qualitative and quantitative metrics we should be paying attention to when it comes to Facebook likes and Instagram hearts disappearing on the user side. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to see it. So if you're publishing content on your Facebook Insights and Instagram analytics, you're going to be able to see the number of likes and Facebook likes and Instagram hearts and you'll continue to be able to do so, presumably for the long term. But the point is that the user is not going to be able to see those things. What they'll see is some kind of facilitated language that basically says, so-and-so and others have liked this content, or so-and-so and others have hearted this content. And the goal there is to tell people, yeah, there's a certain number of people who are following this content and have plus one did in essence given it a recommendation that it's content worthy of something else. But I really just I never have thought it was useful to everyone else. So the goal here then is for you as a business owner to think about engaging people in commenting below that content. And we know that for Facebook and Instagram, that's an actual signal to Facebook and Instagram to elevate that content above others. So comments are always going to be better than hearts or likes. So that means now your goal in the content is to do what I always say, incite conversation. How do you incite conversation in the content that you're creating so that people are willing to comment and to clarify and to ask questions, to opine in the comments, because that's what's going to elevate your content in your Facebook posts as well as your Instagram posts. So gone are the days when the likes and hearts elevated your content. They actually, frankly, don't do that now, but the comments do. And so that's going to be a really prime vehicle for a lot of you to start thinking about, how do we engage people in the content that we're creating by creating value? So that's one part, is engaging them in the content. One way that I like to think about it is that social media generally, but social networking specifically, should really be about the in real life impact. That is that they say, the kids say, IRL, in real life. In real life impact means that something's happening in real life that's helping them in some way, shape, or form. And if you can figure that component out, if you can really get at the essence of how to engage each post, to each user who interacts with your post, to feel some kind of in real life impact, then that's the thing that's going to engage them in saying, hey, by the way, this really helped me. This was really fantastic in getting me to do X or helping me to do Y better. And what you need to then do is to figure out, okay, so you're going to have an initial piece of content, and that's going to incite conversation, incite whatever, educate and persuade and inform and entertain. But then you have to have a long tail perspective in terms of subsequently posting about that same content and asking people to talk about their experiences as it relates to what they did, what their actions were that were birthed from the content prior. So it ends up becoming a narrative built into the story. You're actually posting a single piece of content and then following up with that and saying, hey, you know what? On last Monday, we asked you all to do X. Did you do X? And what was the experience like? And when you have a small audience, maybe that means just a few people are going to respond to it. And as your audience grows and your community grows, then you'll have more people who will respond in that way. But you need to start thinking about your content in terms of the workflow or the flow of actions from both the inception of an idea to the execution, and then getting users to engage with you as the business as to how that activity actually benefited them. So that in real life benefit equates to now a stronger connection to the business and overall hopefully greater clarity on what you're selling, what product or service you're providing, and connecting people to that. And the more you can do that, the more you can shore up the business, especially in these tough economic times that are to come. Making sure that people are aware that your service is tied to the overall social media content helps them to create community, helps them to be able to establish the importance of your service as it relates to their life. Because if they can see something that impacted their real life, that's far more likely than them just feeling good for a moment and then going on to the next bite-sized piece of digital content. So just wanted to give that kind of context for folks so we can pay attention as we move forward in the development of good content for everybody. And then finally, I'll pause here just to say, if you have any questions regarding any of this, as always, you're welcome to leave a comment or a question, and I'll be happy to answer those. And so hopefully we can, help clarify and help to educate as necessary. I mean, that's the point of these conversations. And so the only final thought I wanted to kind of discuss here was a little bit about securing email. Email is secure on two different levels. One is how you communicate directly with your customers, vendors, and so on and so forth via email, your staff, employees, and that kind of thing. That's kind of your internal communications and external communications that happen inside of your email program. But then there's the email that's marketing email that happens typically through your email marketing software. So whether you use MailChimp or Constant Contact or MailerLite or one of these other email marketing platforms, you have two different ways in which you need to secure your email. And I wanted to just give you the wide varieties of ways in which you can secure your email, because if you're sending out marketing email and there is any level of insecurity there, that is, privacy leakage or data security problems, those are going to impact the deliverability of your email marketing, and therefore your potential clients, your current clients, your past clients are not going to get your email, and that means you're not going to be able to get as much response conversion on those emails that you're sending out for marketing purposes. So here, directly related cybersecurity to digital marketing, and I kind of am always on a soapbox about this, but your digital marketing cannot be decoupled from cybersecurity today without you having dire consequences to it. At some point in time, if you haven't already been impacted by some kind of digital, attack, you will be, and it's just a reality. So you can either put in the provisions in place to protect yourself and your client's data, and your employees' data, and your vendors' data, or you don't. And if you don't, then it's just going to happen. So I just really want to make sure everybody's aware, not to scare people, but to get you prepared and planning for it, especially as we do more and more in digital environments. Okay, so here's the thing. On the email side, you need to have good email policies. You need to have a policy about how you use email. And you're going to say to me, Ray, I'm a solopreneur and I'm the only one who emails. That is actually the biggest reason to have a written policy as it relates to how you handle email. Not only because if you have or looking for cyber insurance, that is insurance to cover you for cyber attacks, you're going to need to have written policies associated with this to be able to either get insurance to begin with, or to get lower insurance rates and that kind of thing. But the other side is that you're human, and you're going to your standards are going to be set to the habits you already have in place. And the best way for you to be able to elevate your standards is by writing down what you want to do and how you're going to do it, holding yourself accountable to the things you know are important to making sure that you can stay safe and you can keep your clients safe as well. So write down the standards. This includes how you handle phishing, training. That is, you should be training yourself and your staff and others about how to detect, how to monitor, and how to look at phishing attacks. That is, say you get an email that says, hey, and it looks like it's from a client to send them, some kind of message or email to plug in some information about you so that they can pay you. Well, the reality is that you should have a second means of authorizing and kind of credentialing that that's a message from them, because what that could be is some kind of malefactor who has sent that email so that you can plug your routing number and other contact information into their system so that they can start siphoning money out of your business accounts. You're going to tell me, well, Ray, that's a rare circumstance, and who's going to do that to me? A lot of people, and it happens every day. And I'm the one who gets the emails and the panicked calls and all of those kinds of things because people haven't put those provisions in, even after I talk about it over and over and over again. do not be that statistic, because while we hear about the large cybersecurity incidents that happen out there like Equifax and Target and so on and so forth, small business owners don't get the luxury of a splashy news spot about your cybersecurity attack, because who cares about $10 or $20,000 stolen from small businesses when we can talk about millions and millions of pieces of data stolen from large healthcare organizations or large retail locations and so on and so forth. It's kind of an unspoken epidemic that's happening, and you need to protect yourself from these kinds of incidents. So have some kind of phishing protocol in place. What kinds of phishing attacks could happen to you? Just Google, different types of phishing attacks, and then look at the ways to mitigate those attacks, and then write out good policies for your business. They're not right for every business, so I can't tell you these are the things you need to do. Some good things to pay attention to: if you are using the G Suite platform, Google does a really great job of removing phishing email attacks. So it doesn't provide 100% protection, but it does provide some good level of protection for being able to stop a lot of those phishing attacks at the core. Two is, if you haven't already, there are 3 types of email security protocol. They're DMARC, DMARC, SPF, and then DKIM. SPF for Sender Policy Framework, and then DKIM. Those 3 different protocols, some email servers handle all 3 of them, some handle 2 of them, some handle 1 of them. This includes your email marketing software, and you should attempt to get your DMARC, DMARC, DKIM, and SPF policies enacted across any email servers you're using, both for just normal email purposes, but also for email marketing purposes, so that you can secure those emails. Okay, so that's just a security provisioning that allows the person receiving your email to have some level of security in knowing that it's you who sent that email. Okay, so that's the other side to it. And then third is just around general password protection. That is, what are the systems you're using in order to access your email on a regular basis, and making sure that you're using the right tools that are going to be most secure. Not every email client is equal. Not every email client is secure, and many times these email clients come and go, and that can lead to greater insecurity, because now you've logged into some email software at some point, and now they've gone defunct. Security holes open up, and your email gets compromised because they, fell asleep on the job. So make sure that you're choosing standard, strong email applications. And if you like testing email applications like I do, I just make sure that once I'm done with an email program, I take my account down, I shut it off, and I change the password associated with that particular account. Okay, so just making sure that you're paying attention to, where have you used your email? Have you logged in from a computer terminal that's not yours, or a public space, or in a public space? Paying attention to those kinds of things when you are transiting email, and not sending email on insecure lines. So for example, if you have your laptop and you go to a coffee shop, sending email over the coffee shop Wi-Fi is insecure on all levels. So there's like a lack of security on every level of that. Remember that sending email is just consider it an insecure way to send any message, because it's running through the mail exchange level of the internet, the MX part of the internet. That is an open public internet protocol, meaning that almost anyone can intercept those email messages. And while all of the security email folks out there want to make it sound like it can be more secure, the reality is that even without, just basically without some level of encryption, most email is just basically going out there publicly. And so there are ways for it to be intercepted, for it to be understood, and for your data to not be private. So it's just really important for us to not send email across Wi-Fi networks, because it's just basically broadcasting it even further and farther than you would want your private information or your client's private information to be transacted. So I say all of that not to again, it's not about scaring everybody, but it's just kind of making you more aware of what you need to do in order to be able to make your email more secure. So just start thinking about email security, or don't just start thinking about email security, but think about the ways in which you can just do one thing. If you just think about how can you be phished and putting in some policies to do that. If you just get your SPF records taken care of with your email, it's just going to level up your email security in one way, but it could be just that one way that's going to protect you down the road in that regard. So just start thinking about email security and do some things that you can do in order to be able to protect yourself, because ultimately, if you protect yourself, then your email is more secure, which means that your email is not going to show up in spam in the future, because once one server starts to understand that you're under attack or that your email server is now sending spam to people, you're going to get less and less visibility for every email that you send out on the marketing side. So a lot of people don't realize that, but the email gods, that is all of the servers, are paying attention, and they're learning from every email that you send, not just the email that you transact to your list, but every email that's being sent and how each individual is interacting with each of those email messages. So just be mindful of it's paying attention to everything. So it's kind of like a credit score. Every little detail counts because every little detail is being paid attention to as it relates to those servers. Okay, so I want to just let you all know that I hope you're all staying safe. I know this is a kind of a scary time and uncertain time for a lot of businesses, especially as we start to understand the economic impact of COVID-19 and the global pandemic that's surrounding it. And so I just want everybody to, I hope, stay safe, spend some time with your close friends and family that you live with, so that when you're, calling this sheltering in place of basically physical distancing, that doesn't mean you need to be socially isolated. So if you feel like you need to reach out and have a conversation, feel free to let me know, and we can always hop on video call and at least see each other face to face, even if we can't be physically in the same space. And do that. Reach out to others. This is a good time to market one-to-one, do some referral marketing and some referral networking by reaching out to others who you maybe haven't talked to in a while. And it's a good time to have a phone call, video chat, or otherwise, and start making those types of connections, because life will go back to normal after this is all over. I don't know when that will be, but when it all comes back into some normative working order, it'll be nice to have those relationships rekindled and an opportunity to connect in person that way. So we've come to the end of our time together this week. I hope you can join me next week. I'll be back here at 11 a.m. Eastern on Monday to have this conversation about digital marketing and productivity and cybersecurity and all the little things that are going on in my world that are timely and hopefully relevant to you all. If you have questions, leave a comment. You can tweet and Instagram and so on and so forth. And so thank you so much for spending this Web and Beyond live with me, Ray Sidney Smith with W3 Consulting and W3C Web Services. Have a great week ahead, marketing your business on the Web and Beyond. Take care, everybody.